and welcome to the Disability User Experience. My name is Trish Downing and I'm excited to be starting this channel to talk about something that I'm passionate about, which is diversity and inclusion. But on this channel, I specifically want to address the identity of disability. Because what you can't see from the angle of the camera is that I am actually a paraplegic and a full-time wheelchair user. I acquired my disability around 23 years ago while I was on a bike ride. And at the time, I was a competitive cyclist. And my friend and I had decided one Sunday afternoon to go on a training ride and to do a climb in Golden, Colorado called Lookout Mountain. It was a sunny fall day that to me felt absolutely full of possibility. My friend and I rode along talking about the great competitive cycling season that we just completed and our plans and our goals to be stronger and faster in the next year. We rode from my house that day to the climb, and when we got there, we headed up the mountain at a leisurely pace, and we were treated to the stunning views and the turquoise blue sky that is something I love about Colorado. And as we climbed, I thought about how lucky I was to have found something that I was absolutely passionate about, my bicycle. When we got to the top and we had finished enjoying the payoff of the challenging ride, we fueled up and chatted a bit, and then we headed down this fast but technical descent. It was a rush. When we got back on 32nd Avenue, we were heading straight back to my house in Denver, and I was riding along behind my friend, and I was getting kind of lost in my thoughts. And then I looked up and I saw my friend had to make a big swerving motion around a car that had just turned in front of us as we crossed a side street called Crabapple. And in that moment, I thought to myself, surely that driver sees that they almost hit a cyclist. But then I realized that the driver didn't see anything at all. So I went for the brakes of my bike and I didn't get to them quickly enough, and the front wheel of my bike hit the front bumper of the car. I was launched into midair, turning and landing on my back on the windshield, and then falling to the ground. And as I fell to the ground, my body felt like it was disconnected because I could feel the warm pavement under my back, but I couldn't feel anything under my legs. They felt like they were floating in midair. And I realized then I couldn't move or feel my legs, and I was wondering what happens next. So of course it seemed like forever before the fire trucks and the paramedics pulled up, but I was transferred from the scene of the crash to a local Denver hospital where I would spend 3.5 weeks in intensive care. And that's where I learned that I was paralyzed from the chest down and I would never walk again. So once my medical issues were sorted out in the ICU, I was transferred to a rehabilitation hospital where I spent just over 3 months. And I share that story to give you the foundation of my lived experience of having a disability. And it doesn't mean that I know everything there is to know about disability or the various types of disabilities that exist, or that I have all the answers on how others view disability. I can only share my experience. My life changed drastically the day out of my injury, and even after I had healed and I had learned to live in and appreciate my new body, I found that the most difficult part of living with a disability wasn't actually my own physical situation. It was how I started noticing that people began to treat me as less, acting like my disability now made me incapable. And I was often addressed as if people in their minds had already lowered their standards as to what I was capable of without even knowing me, and how I began to feel this pressure to be 3 times as good or smart or capable just to be judged as an equal to everyone else. And then there were the people who would look at me and quickly look away simply because they didn't know what to say or they felt uncomfortable talking to a person with a disability. So with this channel, I hope to change perceptions of disability and to help create an environment of empathy and understanding, and to give those who might not have the language to feel comfortable talking about disability, a place to start. So I hope you'll join me on this journey to learn more about the disability user experience. I really look forward to sharing my experiences and to hearing back from you. So check back next week for a new video, and please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Until then, thanks for your support.